Hello everyone, my little tutorial on how to create a custom championship in AMS2. I'll be doing it by the example of my upcoming F1 1990 championship with the F-Classic Gen3 as it is called in AMS2, and of course with the outstanding, awesome mod by Immersion Modding Group, which you can get from Race Department. So let's get into championship and click new. Here we have a selection of 5 custom slots. We'll pick now the default custom championship number 3 and click edit championship. Type in my name. This. Then of course, I'd like to pick actual class. In this case, it's only F-Classic Gen3. We will have 25 opponents, and that's really cool. Racer has added new score types, a bunch of them. So I haven't looked in all of them, but I think it's at least twice, perhaps thrice more than it used to be before patch 1.5.3, I guess. And the one I'm looking for is, of course, this, the top 6 option number 2, because that is the score type they had back in 1990 with 9, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points for the first 6 drivers. So let's pick that one. We won't have refueling. That wasn't allowed back then. We won't have full course yellows, and we will have a pit speed limit of 200 kph. In reality, they didn't have a speed limit, but this is the utmost you can set in AMS2. Sadly, we cannot go below 40 and not above 200. That may be another option for the future for Racer, just to give us the option to deactivate the pit speed limit. I have to admit, I am still not sure how many rounds I will be doing, and have not decided on how long each round, each race will be. I won't be doing 100% races. That's just too time consuming regarding driving and of course post-production editing. So I think it will be either 33% or 50% race distance. But what I will definitely do is to go as authentic and immersive than with all that we have in AMS2, meaning it's not only the appropriate car class, of course, but also the mod, which gives us all liveries, helmets, gloves, overalls. And then there are 10 tracks that feature the time or period accurate variant which they raced on. In the case of Interlagos, it's this one, not this one. That's the 93 edition, but this one. Layout looks pretty similar if I click on both of them. So the basic layout is the same. As so often, the differences are in the details, which is the curbing is a little different, as well as the environmental map, let me call it thus. So, first race is going to be Interlagos, and I will go through this race and set it up as an example, as a blueprint. Will then be the same for every other track that you add to your championship, as they are counted as rounds. So let's go through that. I pick Interlagos Historic 1991, and I click on the whole button. I don't want to do practice, but I of course want to have qualifying on. Let's pick the settings, which will be in my case 30 minutes, 1300. In reality, they did 2 sessions, Friday midday qualifying, and then Thursday at 1 p.m. I will have time progression on twice, and weather slot not relevant, as I will always pick real weather, but I will have weather progression set to twice, and I will also have the live track preset of default progressing, enabling us to achieve the best times toward the end of the session. So then we will of course have a race, not 2, but 1. And for now, let's just assume I will be doing 50% distance races. In reality, they did 71 laps, so here I will pick 36. And of course, I will pick a custom date, which in 1990 was Here we go. Start time was back then 1400. We will be using real time. Excuse me. We will be also be using here twice for time progression and real historic weather. Start time is of course standing, as common in F1. No mandatory pit stop. They, as a matter of fact, did hardly any pit stop back then. The tires worked pretty well, and yeah, they only came in when there was something wrong or when they, well, hoped that a stop will be of benefit. So we will also keep the live track preset here on default progressing, but that also means that we will take over the state of the track from the previous session. In our case, that's qualifying, and I think at the end of the qualifying, the track will be pretty good. So what I still have to do for the first round is, of course, to deactivate practice and race 2. We won't do that. Then go back. For completion's sake, I will add a second round to show you the process, because the cool thing is here that the first entry is duplicated. So it's already no practice, no second race. Cool thing. Round 3 in 1990 was Imola. So let's pick Imola and the right historic version. In our case, that's Imola Historic 98. For the second round, that again, click on that one here. This will stay the same. We will have 30 minutes of quali. Starting time also 1300, real weather. The only thing I will now have to care about are the race settings. Back in 1990, they did the race on May 13th. So the rest is okay, except for Imola had 61 laps back then. So we will have to adjust that to 31. And that's it. All other settings are the same and are taken over. Cool thing, in my opinion. So, and if for some reason you messed up the order here, there's these two arrows which allow you to move the tracks to other positions in your championship. So flexible order, I will of course do it like they did in 1990 in the right chronological order. I hope this little tutorial helps you in setting up your own custom championships. It's really not rocket science, and you don't have to have a degree in anything actually. It's a bit of clicking. Make sure to pick the right core type and don't mess up the settings in here. Especially in my case, as I'm always going for the most authentic experience, I'd like to set up everything as realistic as I can, except for example, the race length. But again, if you're just doing a third of the original distance, then you will have the option to set the tire wear to 3 times and also the fuel consumption to a higher amount or ratio. And of course, you have the option to then set the weather progression to 5 times, 10 times, whatever, according to your needs, right? Good. The most important thing, finally, is that click on save, actually. This is mandatory because only if you click on save, your championship is actually saved here by the name that you typed in. If you just go back, everything is removed and annulled. You don't want that, so click on save. And another cool thing, you don't have to finish your work. You can come back to it. You can just save and come back to it, click on it, and further edit the championship. Only if you click on start, the championship will eventually be initiated. Then there's no going back. For completion's sake, you will also have to, oh, look at that. We will have to adjust also the maximum opponents here. That's important, right? And we finally will also have to choose a vehicle, of course. In my case, it's Nigel Mansell's Ferrari 641. What a beauty that was in real life. And it's a bit of a pity that the model here in MS2 doesn't look much like the real one. But on the other hand, then we cannot help it because this is a generic model and obviously Razer does not have the licenses for the real one. And we will have to cope with it. But there are worse things because this one is still a Ferrari. And it's, again, I'm repeating myself, fantastic to have the Immersion Modding Group here and also other modders that are contributing and offering us realistic looking liveries that are so important for the authenticity. And all I can say is now, fasten your seatbelts because the first round at Interlagos is coming soon, I guess. So stay tuned, tune in again when I start my actual championship of the F1 1990 season. So thanks for watching, have a nice day, enjoy your racing, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.